What's up everyone, this is FP Sticks bringing you some more Go Battle League battles here in the Great League. And in today's video, I'm going to be featuring a team that was originally brought to my attention by one of my patrons, Sheldon. So thank you so much for supporting the channel. And in one of our coaching sessions, he was actually using this team of UMBREON, DRIFBLIM as the safe swap, and then Venusaur in the back. And I was thinking to myself, man, I really like the design of this team. So UMBREON is a really solid lead. There's a lot of neutral matchups that it has. I did some battles here where my UMBREON was running Dark Pulse, and then some where I was running Foul Play. I think Foul Play still is the more preferred move just because it's a little bit spammier, but the thought process behind it, UMBREON, very bulky, pretty solid in the lead. You're going to be weak to fighters and weak to charmers. And so DRIFBLIM makes for a really nice safe swap, being able to handle the fighting types, being ghost and flying. It really resists those fighting type attacks pretty strongly there. And then Venusaur in the back also is able to counter fighters and is the hard counter to Azumarill, because UMBREON obviously is very weak to Azumarill as well, especially if they're running Play Rough. But thought process behind this team, you lose the lead with UMBREON, just safe swap into the DRIFBLIM, and running Icy Wind and Shadow Ball, really powerful moveset. And Icy Wind, even if you lose that matchup with DRIFBLIM, you're able to debuff that Pokemon with Icy Wind and then come in with either Venusaur or UMBREON to farm it down. So I really like this team. You'll see a couple games in here, I believe, where I run into a Bastiodon in the lead, and the UMBREON can actually hang with Bastiodon fairly well. But let's just jump right into these games and commentate over some of these battles. That was obviously a very favorable lead and then a very favorable switch in for me. You do need to be careful though when you're using DRIFBLIM as a hard punish to psychic types, because since you're a ghost type and not part sub dark, you're actually going to be taking neutral damage from a lot of these psychic type attacks. If this was a Hypno, for example, I would be taking neutral damage from the Confusion, and the Thunder Punch obviously would hit for super effective damage. Deoxys as well, I know, has Rock Slide and Thunderbolt, both of which hit for super effective, but my opponent brings out the Marowak onto my DRIFBLIM. I'm not even going to bait, just going to go for the Shadow Ball. They do respect it and shield it up, but my DRIFBLIM is able to get to another Shadow Ball, and I still have my UMBREON as a very solid punish to this AWAC. In the back is an Azumarill, and there was no hope for my opponent just based on that team comp. That was extremely hard counters in my favor. This UMBREON Stunfisk matchup is really wild. If you can correctly shield the Earthquake, you're in a really good spot. But if you allow a couple extra mud shots through, or your opponent is able to sneak in extra mud shots, this actually turns in the Stunfisk's favor. And it's a very close matchup on both sides, but my opponent is just somehow getting so many free fast moves in here that this is just becoming worse and worse for my UMBREON. Someone in my Twitch chat while I was running this team actually pointed out that UMBREON with Dark Pulse does kind of cleanly handle this G-Fisk matchup a little bit better, but then you lose the Abomasnow matchup. And this team, if my UMBREON cannot take out the Abomasnow, then it's very rough, because it's essentially going to have play against my entire team. So here comes the Earthquake. Look at this. I get mud shotted down, and they survive with 1 HP. And honestly, this lost the game for me, because this was all about alignment, because most likely they have a Tropius in the back or a Skarmory in the back. So let's see. They're waiting out the switch clock. It's an Altaria in the back. This was literally all based on alignment, and because I barely lost the lead because they were able to sneak in so many free mud shots, my alignment was off, right? I would have been able to have the DRIFBLIM on the Altaria. I would have been able to have the Venusaur on the Azumarill. Would have been very solid for me, but that just goes to show you how close that matchup with UMBREON against G-Fisk is. My UMBREON is a rank 1 UMBREON, meaning that it has the best possible PvP stat product. But that matchup was just insanely close. And even if I would have double shielded to fight for a lead there, my Venusaur would have been shields down and have to absorb an Ice Beam, so it would have been a little bit scary. Very favorable lead here. If it's Hypno double dark, we just instantly win. This DRIFBLIM hard counters Toxicroak so well. The way that I think that you should play this, and I continued to kind of develop a strategy the more I did this, is immediately throw an Icy Wind and then just hex it down from there. The fact that my opponent fully sacrificed the Toxicroak there, I knew something was up. I knew that they wanted to hard farm me with an Umbreon or something in the back, but I'm able to just win that based on team comp. Okay, here's the Bastiodon matchup right here. Some of these games are very, very fast because these are pretty solid hard counters if you can get them aligned in the correct spot, especially the Venusaur on an Azu. So what I like to do here is the second that my opponent throws the second Stone Edge, I like to aggressively switch in my Venusaur and start Vine Whipping it down. This could be any sort of number of things in the back. I've seen Bastiodon double fighter a lot. I've seen Bastiodon, there's still Grass Hole running around there, so double Razor Leafer in the back. But I know that Venusaur is most likely going to be able to handle whatever is in the back line, and if it is double fighter, DRIFBLIM is easily going to be able to handle that. So right here, I'm going to let the Stone Edge go and then probably switch Venusaur right here. Get a jump start on energy. It's a Deoxys, so this is totally fine by me. All I really need to do is correctly shield up whatever the first Psycho Boost is. But they actually go for Rock Slide. Venusaur outpaces the Deoxys if Rock Slide is their cheapest move. So I'm going to land that Frenzy Plant, and then I'm going to throw this Frenzy Plant, most likely going to draw a shield. I know the Bastiodon is pretty low, definitely within Vine Whip range, and I know that they won't get to another move. I'm just going to shield this as well and see what they want to do. I'm able to Vine Whip down this Deoxys, really, really good for me. What is in the back? What is in the back? Probably, okay, it is a Surfetched, and then they attempt to catch a move on their Bastiodon. But I was actually getting nervous that they might be able to get to a Flamethrower, so I did throw a Frenzy Plant there. I'm going to throw another Frenzy and then immediately switch into my DRIFBLIM. All I have to do is get to a Shadow Ball, and this should be GG's. I do know that this Surfetched has access to Night Slash, which it does a lot of damage right there, and they get the boost, but I'm able to get to this Shadow Ball, and this is for sure going to be able to take out the Surfetched. Nice, good game. So handling the Bastiodon in the lead, that Umbreon was pretty clutch. Really favorable lead. Sometimes you just go on hot streaks where that particular lead that you choose for the day is just running into so many favorable team comps. They switch in an Alolan Marowak onto my Umbreon. So are they triple weak? Are they triple weak to an Umbreon? I do not know. But I know that I still have my Venusaur for that Jellicent, and my DRIFBLIM handles the Jellicent as well. So I'm not quite sure what is happening here, but I'm just going to farm up as much as possible and take out this Alolan Marowak. They either misclicked or they're triple weak to an Umbreon, so we'll have to see. They probably come in with like a Scrafty or something like very hard countery to Umbreon here. A Swampert. So at this point, Venusaur can easily just sweep their team. They have double water, and one of them was a Ghost type. I'm assuming that I'm going to start getting some shields here. But I already know that Venusaur is just going to sweep this team, so I'm probably even going to bring in my DRIFBLIM to just soak up this damage. Yeah, I just swapped the DRIFBLIM right here so I don't get farmed. I'm just going to totally use this DRIFBLIM as a sacrifice here. Absorb all this damage. And I'm able to get this Icy Wind off. But I have a Venusaur in the back, so there's zero hope for my opponent, unfortunately for them. I'm just going to let this go. And Venusaur with 2 shields is going to take this game. Just Jellicent, and at that point they concede. Good game. Umbreon absolutely went to town against that entire team. Okay, this is fairly neutral. Whether or not the Swampert is regular or Shadow Swampert, this is still a decent lead for Umbreon, just because of how bulky it is, and you can see the shadow. The shadow is really taken into effect on the Swampert because that Foul Play did so much damage there. We get some beautiful Go Battle lag. I'm actually going to shield this Hydro Cannon here, just to guarantee that I can win this lead and see if they want to shield this. They do. The thing is that most people that lead Swampert tend to have a Skarmory in the back, so it is pretty important that I have the alignment in my favor. I'm actually just going to switch in the DRIFBLIM right now. They have a Powder Snow Alolan Ninetales. I was not expecting this at all. So I'm now thinking that it might be double ice in the back. So it could be an Abomasnow. That'd be worst case scenario for me. It could be a Frostlass. It could also potentially be an Alolan Marowak. Some sort of combination of two grass counters. So I'm going to bring out my Umbreon here. This is not good for me at all. I need to try to Vine Whip this down with my Venusaur. But they're going to get to another Weather Ball. This is so bad for me. So bad. What do they have in the back? It's a Pelipper. And so I knew that this was just a Weather Ball. And I survived that. I'm able to get to this Frenzy Plant. I actually have back-to-back Frenzy stored right now. But I know the Swampert is very close to a move. Able to land this Frenzy. Can I Vine Whip it down before the Swampert gets to a Hydro? Or are they going to bring in the Ninetales and let me farm even more? They bring out the Swampert and it's literally just barely able to get to a Hydro. Very, very close game. So they had Pelipper. That is a bold move, running Swampert and Pelipper on the same team. Very weak to like an Altaria lead and Grass as well. DRIFBLIM is a very solid response to fighters. However, I do know that this thing has Night Slash. And so even if I have to go down 2 shields here just to maintain alignment, I do not care. Because Umbreon is such a hard counter to Hypno, I don't need shields. I'm very surprised that my opponent shielded up that Icy Wind. Just going to let this Night Slash go through. Over farming just a little bit more. Going to throw another Icy Wind. I don't think this KOs, but I'm pretty sure I can Hex it down. They actually double shield. There's no way that they're going to be able to win switch here, so I was very surprised by this shield, and I know that I can survive this Night Slash. So I know shield it, survive with a little bit of health, and at this point, the Icy Wind should be just enough to KO. They probably bring out Hypno to farm me down some more, but they're in a very terrible spot. Oh, I like this play a lot. I remember this game, yeah. They go for Vigoroth for an aggressive counter down, hoping that all this energy that they gain is going to help them, but unfortunately, there's just no hope for them. My Venusaur is going to get aligned with this. It is in Frenzy Plant range, instant swap, and I have all the hard counters aligned. Even if they... I mean, I do correctly need to shield a Focus Blast if they have one, but I actually just let this go through. I kind of dared them to Focus Blast me if they had it, but... they don't. There's really nothing they can do. Yeah, Umbreon on Hypno is such a hard counter. Good game. All right, another Bastiodon lead. Have you all out there been encountering way more Bastiodons now that the Razor Leaf nerf has taken effect? I have been encountering just a ridiculous amount of Bastiodons. It's been pretty wild. So once again, I'm just going to throw these foul plays and play it the same way that I have been playing it. The second Stone Edge lands, I'm going to switch into my Venusaur once it's within that health range that I can potentially Vine Whip down. So I do need to land these 2 more foul plays. The Stone Edge is going to come through. I'm going to rip off another foul play and then make my swap, because that is going to put it in a farm down range, and I know that the Bastiodon is out of energy at this point. They actually simultaneously switched their Toxicroak, which is super wild. This matchup with Venusaur and Toxicroak, all you have to do is correctly shield up the Sludge Bomb. I actually let the Mud Bomb go through because I know I'm going to get shields here, and then I'm anticipating that this is double fighter in the back. So DRIFBLIM is going to be my win scenario. I'm just going straight Frenzy Plant here. It doesn't matter how much energy this Toxicroak farms up, because my DRIFBLIM just totally shuts it down. Not able to get to another Frenzy Plant there, unfortunately. But out comes DRIFBLIM, and all this energy is just going to absolutely go to waste. They blind Mud Bomb. You love to see it. Double resisted. No need to shield. I know that they still have the Bastiodon. I'm just going to farm up as much as possible. I knew that this was going to be a Sludge Bomb, so it is worth it to shield, even though it's resisted. That would do a nice chunk of damage. I'm continuing to farm. Gonna let this go. They still have the Bastiodon, but I love all this energy that I have on DRIFBLIM. Out comes the Bastiodon. I figured that they were gonna try to go for a combo play like that. I just throw Shadow Ball to get rid of it. What is in the back? Whatever they bring out, it's gonna be switch locked. It's a Medicham, so I farm up even a little bit more. Gonna land this Shadow Ball. DRIFBLIM is absolutely going to town. Oh my gosh. Hex it down. And yeah, good game. One thing to point out, what would I do against an Alola Ninetales in the lead? If it is Charm, you go straight into DRIFBLIM. If it's Powder Snow, you actually need to stay in with Umbreon and try to play it out a little bit. It's not that bad as long as they don't land a Dazzling Gleam on you and you just go straight Last Resort. So I'm able to hard punish this Toxicroak safe swap. It was so wild that while I was using this team, so many people were safe swapping Toxicroak, which is just pretty crazy because DRIFBLIM is such a hard punish to this. As you can see, I threw the Icy Wind and then I'm able to fully Hex down, and I knew this was just going to be a Mud Bomb. So that is the way that I like to play it. Throw an Icy Wind as soon as possible. You leave this with minimal health to be farmed, maximum energy to dump on whatever it is. So I'm going to throw a Shadow Ball, then I'm going to throw an Icy Wind, and this Bastiodon is going to take me out. But I'm fully anticipating that it's another fighter in the back, and so they're probably going to insta-swap. There it is, it's a Shadow Machamp. So very heads up play on them, saving both shields for their Shadow Machamp. That's essentially their only hope of winning this. I knew that they were just going to go straight cross chop, but I actually had to start shielding that up at that point. Really need to get rid of this Machamp here. I have back-to-back Frenzy stored, but they still have 2 shields, so I know I'm going to burn both shields here. The Bastiodon is actually decently low in health because I landed that Shadow Ball on it. There goes both shields, and this is really bad because my Umbreon now has to take out this Machamp and the Bastiodon. So they catch on their Bastiodon. I knew this was going to happen. The only way I can win this game now is if I have a Last Resort stored coming out of this matchup. So I have to farm up as much as possible and take out this Bastiodon and avoid getting hit by a Stone Edge to KO, but make sure that I have enough energy to get to a Last Resort to take out the Machamp. So here it goes. Here it goes. I can stack a Foul Play and a Last Resort back to back. And there it is. I'm capped on 100 energy. Here comes the Foul Play. This should KO. And then I know that I have a Last Resort stored because I built up to 100 energy. And I'm able to take out this Machamp. I knew it was out of energy. Very scary conclusion to that game. Nicely played by my opponent. I think this is the last match. Oh, this person ran a very, very spicy team. I have no idea how this matchup goes. I do know that this Dragon Breath damage is really adding up. And I get to Foul Play at the same pace that they get to Aqua Tail every other Foul Play, because it alternates between 4 and 3 Snarls. Each Snarl is 3 turns, and it takes about 12 turns for Dragonair to get to an Aqua Tail. So I'm going to throw this Foul Play, see what they want to do. They do commit a shield. This is kind of a crazy matchup here. Out comes Scrafty. I'm going to switch into Venusaur. This is the safer response. I'm resisting the counter. Foul Play will obviously hit for neutral. I actually let that Foul Play go through because I knew I could survive 1. Farming up a little bit extra here. I anticipate that they let this go and then they come in with the Dragonair and continue to farm down. At this point, I'm actually just going to let this go, and because it's only a power-up punch. And then I'm able to Vine Whip it down, which is absolutely crazy. But the 1-turn fast move of Dragon Breath KOs me before I can get that move off. Unfortunate, but it's okay. I'm going to bring out the Umbreon. I have a Foul Play stored. I really want to get this energy off. So I'm going to shield this and guarantee that I get this Foul Play off. We'll see if my opponent double shields. They don't. I'm just going to insta-swap into DRIFBLIM. And they have a Seaking in the back, which this thing learns Icy Wind. But I'm definitely just going to try to go straight Shadow Ball here. Hope that they think that I'm baiting on this first one, but they successfully shield it. Really not good for me. I'm going to get hit by an Icy Wind. I know it. This Seaking barely outpaces me, but I'm still going to be able to get to this Shadow Ball. But I'm double debuffed at this point. Over farming just a little bit. And Shadow Ball does not take out the Seaking. This is not good. I swap into my Umbreon to force them to throw energy, and I clear my debuffs, so I should be able to win this game. Thank you all so much for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you appreciate the content. Best of luck out there with your battles, and I'll see you all in the next video.